How's it going, gamers? It's Chongo here, and today I've got a gameplay commentary for you guys. The gameplay is of Titanfall on the PC, and today's commentary is about the recent news that the Evolve community manager was fired for comments about the Donald Sterling banning. So let's get into it. So if you don't know what any of this is about, first off, the Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling was recently banned from the NBA for life after making remarks of a racist nature, and Josh Olin, who is the community manager for Evolve, made comments about this. Now, if you don't know what Evolve is, it's this awesome game that's coming out later this year, I think at the end of the year, and it's made by the same people who made Left 4 Dead Turtle Rock Studios, so it's going to be an awesome co-op experience game, which I'm really looking forward to. However, Josh Olin made a comment about this, banning, and basically he wasn't really for what Donald Sterling was saying. He was more saying that someone of that age and who's grown up in that time obviously would be kind of racist. That's what his whole point was that he was making on Twitter. However, if you do need to realize that in a situation like this, if you're a community manager or even representing a company like this that's going to be big and wants to make money with the game, they do not want you dealing with anything controversial at all. They would rather you never ever speak about it, and I think Josh probably should have thought of this before he, posted this, because this has impacted him badly and he's lost his job because he's spoken about this. Even if what he said was right or wrong or, popular opinion or unpopular opinion, whatever it was, even if he had said anything to do with this, it still probably would have impacted him badly. So I think he should have just avoided saying anything about this at all, especially if you're in a position where you're representing a business like this. And I think one of the big reasons that companies that are dealing with international customers, like a game company, obviously fired Josh really fast is because even though he wasn't talking about anything related to Evolve, and he could argue that it's his own Twitter account, but it's more so that when you are a community manager and stuff like that, your Twitter account is sort of your work account. People are going to be communicating through you in that sense, and that's why he probably shouldn't have said this on this Twitter account. And people who are following him for information about Evolve obviously got this, thing about Donald Sterling and something that's happening in the US, and they probably didn't want to hear about that, and that's obviously not something that Evolve wants to portray to their customers. And this is the same sort of deal with what happened with Microsoft and Adam Orth, who worked for Microsoft and made the whole deal with it thing. If you have bad internet, before the Xbox One was released, he seemed a bit crazy, but the fact is he was defending what they were doing at Microsoft, and they still fired him because, he's obviously not something that they want people to see, that people working there are like that. So that's why, especially in the public opinion in an area like this, you need to be careful with what you're saying online, and probably should avoid saying anything controversial or anything like that, especially if your job relates highly to, Twitter usage or Facebook usage and stuff like that. So I think the main thing is, if you are in a position like this where you need to communicate with people through social media, you can't be saying opinions like this. Even if it is what you agree with and all that kind of stuff, you can lose your job for saying things like this. So I don't know what you could do in a situation like this. Either just don't talk about it or talk about it privately, or you could, I suppose, make a second account and voice your opinions with no identity that way, although there is still the chance of someone eventually finding out who you are. At least that way you're not so obviously talking about controversial topics on your work account and things like that. I guess it simply comes down to that people seem to forget that you're no longer invisible on the internet, especially if you say where you work, like what happened with Adam Orth. Since he was, working at Microsoft, someone found out where he was working and then fired him for that. So that's the kind of situation that we're living in now, so you should probably avoid saying stuff like that. Even if you're not dealing with a big game business, if you say something crap about your work, you do have the chance to lose your job if they find out about it. Anyway, this brings me to the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, and if you've got any comments about the Evolve community manager Josh Olin being fired, or anything to do with talking about your own personal opinions on social media, put them down below. And if you want to join the GamerHood, just subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.